Big Chongus!
Alright, well, I'm King of the Bees, and I'm going to be commentating this run with Theory for JMC. He's going to be running Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance. It's one of the best speedruns out there. And it's going to be a great time.
Yep.
So, with this run, he's going to be playing on New Game Plus in order to skip a cutscene that we'll talk about later. And, I guess, should we count him down in a minute? Should we count him down in VoIP?
Yeah, I'll do a countdown.
Alright, cool. And we're off.
Alright, we're off. First part of this game is on the tanker mission. So we'll start, it's like a 6-minute small little section, and it's very like fast paced. Everything is pretty much comes down to like precise movement. The majority of this game is all about movement. So it's basically good lines, tight corners, and making sure you don't hit walls for the most part. And that way we can get through it as fast as possible. And then it's a little bit of boss execution. We're going to have 2 main RNG points in this part of the game, and it's going to be the first one is going to be a boss fight, and then the next one is going to be kind of like a mini boss fight. It's not really a boss fight, it's just a guard rush. You have to kill a certain amount of guards. But JMC is just going to head towards the first boss fight, which is Olga, and we'll explain Olga once we get closer. There's not much in this.
The rooms come at you really quickly in Tanker, and so you're essentially just going to be going, like Theory said, room to room to room to room as quick as possible. There's going to be a lot of cutscene interruptions, but we have what's called Turbo for this game, which allows us just to zoom straight through all the cutscenes and stuff. And so he's entering Olga now, and he's going to turbo the first shot, and he did not get it, so instead he's going to go for what's called the loop technique. When Olga comes from the left side, you're able to loop her by getting 2 shots on her. But it's kind of RNG if she's gonna loop or not, but you can like minimize the RNG by getting the 2 shots on her when tippy-toed. And he got it perfectly.
Yeah, basically the loop will skip a cutscene. She'll go into a big like cutscene that you can't skip normally, and she'll do this big old long talk for like that's like a minute or not even that. It's like half a second, something, a couple of seconds. And then she goes back to the fight. And if you get the left side like JMC did there, if you get the skip, you just don't have to worry about that, and you can immediately continue fighting. And you just basically keep headshotting her until she's dead.
And so now he's gonna head to what's called the guard rush. So he's gonna have to make it through a couple easy rooms, and then he's gonna hit the engine room where things can get really chaotic. When entering the engine room, you're gonna want to drop down, shoot the radio of a guard, and then that's going to interrupt his alert call, which will then allow you to essentially run through the entire room and then roll up the staircase into some guards, knocking them out. It's a pretty easy strat to execute, but it's easy to mess up too, and he'll be coming up on that very shortly.
Enemy sighted. Requesting backup unit.
I'll just point out now, you'll see things like there's a little timer in the top right of his screen, and you can see he's got turbo, he's got a GUI down in the bottom as well, it's got turbo on it, and his name has been changed for the title of the
I got him. Send
title of this little event. So
and there's the radio shot. It gave him a little bit of trouble, but he did manage to get it.
Those were developed by a community member by the name of BMN, who's the MVP in the Metal Gear community for us, speedrunning. He's developed a lot of tools for a lot of the different games, so shout out to BMN. Made our lives a lot easier.
And just like that, he's through the engine room. Now he just has to shoot the sensor that's going to come up right here. And that green glow, that's the sensor. He just shot it out. And he's done with the engine room. So pretty well executed. He had trouble with the first guard, but overall very clean. He didn't get the cutscene, which is what's really important.
Yeah. Onto deck 2. This is just a big old long room of pretty much 2 corridors. He's going to trank this first guard, and then he's going to try not to get an alert on this second guard after this guy. There's a chance you can get an alert because the third guard is too close to this guard by the time you turn the corner, and if a guard spots you, he can alert another guard automatically. It's within range, but he got it without the alert. It doesn't matter too much if he gets another alert because you can just trank this third guard, but sometimes you can get kicked by him because of it.
So we're coming up here on Guard Rush. This is essentially a cutscene we'll play where JMC is going to get attacked by some guards, and then he's going to have to fight all the guards as quick as he can. And there's going to be one behind a box. We call him D Cheetos, and he's kind of rude. And he got him perfectly just then.
A good one. Luckily, he stood up. He can basically stand up in a different... either he'll stand up fully, so you can just straight shoot him, no problems, you can hit him straight away, or sometimes he'll just like head glitch, he'll just see his head, and when it's just his head, it's obviously a lot harder to hit quickly, but you definitely want to make sure you kill him as quickly as possible.
Heading into the holds now, this is where he's going to execute the ladder glitch. That's a standard USP ladder glitch he just did, and it went perfectly. There are faster ones you can do, but that's one of the safer ones. You might as well just do that when you're in a setting like this, a marathon setting.
Yeah. But that skips about 12 seconds as well. It takes 12 seconds if you just go down the ladders as normal.
Went for the hold up strat and hold 2. Nothing wrong with that. A good classic strat.
With Ray, the hundreds,
So here we gotta take some photos. Yep. You want to explain the photos, theory?
Yeah, so when this game was ported to newer consoles, so like HD, we have there's a HD collection. It was upscaled to 16:9, and because of that, they didn't really do their due diligence when they were upscaling it, and so the hitboxes for the photos from the original version of this game are completely broken and are way bigger than they're supposed to be. So we do what we call a two-spot photo. Normally you would have to take 4 photos, one from the left, one from the right, one from the middle, and then one of the Marines logo. And the Marines logo is on the far side of either of the ray. So it's on the leg, on either side of the ray. But if you notice, JMC never took a photo of that logo. But in the actuality, what he did is he just took a photo in a certain position. And because the box for the photo is so big and broken on 16:9, it allows us to take the photo without having to run all the way to the where the logo is. So we can just snap it from like the front or from the side. It's pretty handy.
I'm sure you guys are going to notice a lot coming into this run is that there is so much going on so quickly in every room that we are going to fall behind a lot on commentary. Like, it takes so long to explain just that one room where you take the photos of Metal Gear. And so, as you can see, JMC is named a BMN huge fan. Shoutouts to BMN. Like we said, he's the MVP. We're all huge fans.
He really is. He's made so many tools that make our lives easier as Metal Gear speedrunners.
So JMC came out of Tanker with a what looked like a 554 or maybe a high 553, and so he's well ahead to get a fantastic 102 time if everything goes well.
Yeah, he's just going to come back here and grab the M9 early. You don't have to do this, but most runners do it just so they have the M9 early. Because this section is pretty much on a rail, we're waiting for an elevator, and you have to just wait. It's just timed.
It also spawns more M9 ammo in the next room, and so you get extra ammo for the M9, which can be useful if you do conveyor route and you waste a few shots in some areas.
And there we go. On to the plant. This is the biggest part of the game. This is pretty much the meat of the game. This entire section is about an hour long at best.
Yeah, the next 50-something minutes here.
Yeah, so this is where it all happens. Very nice cartwheel. He actually landed that perfectly to go straight through the vent, the hole in the fence there.
That cartwheel actually can give you a lot of trouble too, so that was really clean.
That's about it.
Movement in this game is massive. And so something as simple as a cartwheel like that can really be the, the difference between an entire second lost or gain because of the way the game rounds time.
Yeah, we time this in IGT and not RTA for board times because the IGT timer in this game is actually very good. It doesn't count loads, so a lag or anything like that is not counted in the IGT, so it's pretty accurate for us. So we decided that it would be best to stick with IGT for timing.
So if you notice here, when he enters strut B, he unequips the M9. That's because of a memory glitch, essentially, that will allow him, after the next cutscene that plays in strut C, which is the room he'll be going to in two loading screens from now, essentially, he'll be able to instant equip the M9 again. Or I think he already just re-equipped it. Yeah, he did. He already went for the re-equip. But though, I guess he's going to unequip it again at Stillman.
That'll actually save him time on menus. Because menus will cost you time. IGT will continue to run while you open a menu. There are other games in the Metal Gear series that don't, but unfortunately this game will.
Oh wait, I forgot. You start with it equipped whenever you do the memory manip. So yeah, he's gonna have. Technically, right now he has the M9 in his hands, and it's also in his previous. And so when he enters the next room, he'll be able to re-equip the M9 instantly. And so this room right here is why we play on New Game Plus. It allows you to skip a special cutscene. I believe the cutscene's around 4 hours, 20 minutes, and 69 seconds.
Yeah. Long cutscene.
That's what we're led to believe.
I see a Mr. Apache Smash in the chat. Welcome, Apache.
What's up, Apache?
Hope
you're doing
feel
good,
better.
man.
Yeah. Apache actually helped find a bunch of stuff in different Metal Gear games for speedrunning, so shoutouts to him. Found some really cool neat little tricks and things like that.
Check out his Twitter, obligatory.
So now he's going to do the next section of the plant, which is the bomb disposal. You have to go through each strut and defuse a bomb, and they're all in different locations for each thing. And there are two ways of doing it. They're called clockwise and anti-clockwise. And JMC is doing the anti-clockwise one because he's going to be doing a glitch that'll allow us to save around 7 seconds or so on this difficulty. And he's basically going to be able to skip 2 struts on the way back to a boss fight. And I think it's 2 struts and 2 bridges, saving us about 7 seconds on this difficulty. But we'll mention that when it comes up because he's a little ways away. He's got to defuse a few bombs first.
Yeah, the conveyor route has been something known about for quite some time, but it's just now getting widely adopted by runners. I myself recently just switched to it, and I love it, honestly. It's a great way to run the plant section. It's so much fun.
So he's in strut A. You're actually going to see him do a little trick here with the coolant spray. What he's going to do is he's going to be crawling, and then he's going to quickly equip the coolant spray, stand up, and then unequip the coolant spray. And because when you equip the coolant spray, you go into first person view, it automatically pushes you into FPV. And when he stands up, as soon as he starts to stand up, he's going to unequip it. And what that'll do is bring him out of FPV, but it'll also skip the animation of Raiden standing up. Because Raiden's stand-up animation is like quite long, it's like a second or so. So we can just skip that and save ourselves waiting for him to stand up so we can move again. So we can immediately stand up, continue going.
Yeah, you can basically come straight out of laying on the ground into an instant running position. It saves a lot of time. And so coming up on this guard, you can either go for a box equip or the trank shot. Whenever you, oh, right there, yeah. I got confused for a second. This is the one I was talking about. In this room, you can equip the box or you can trank him. Sometimes I equip the box just for memes.
Who's there?
Oh, he landed on that guard. Sometimes you can miss that guard, sometimes you can land on him. It depends on your timing. Either way, as long as you get past him with no issues.
Yeah, it doesn't lose any time to land on the guard, so...
For this room, he's going to do a cartwheel, and it's going to pick up a claymore. He's going to do a cartwheel, specific visual cue here on the bridge. And he's going to immediately lay down straight into a claymore pickup, and we're going to use that claymore for later on. There we go.
And just
he's
like
gonna do a
that.
coolant rise.
Perfect. And once again, yep, the coolant rise straight from laying on the ground, instantly running, saves so much time. Honestly, can't forget about the coolant rise. It's beautiful tech.
So he has one box. He's going to pick up another box on this roof after he defuses the bomb on this this heliport, and that's what he's going to use. He's going to use both these boxes to execute the conveyor glitch twice. He needs to execute it twice to get to where he needs to go.
You may have noticed what he just did going up the stairs. We call those stairiols. You can essentially do an aerial, which is like the cartwheel but without touching the ground, up a staircase in some locations. And it saves quite a lot of time because the stair running animation is very slow compared to the full speed running. Cartwheeling is faster over running, but it's a very marginal amount, and it really depends on how perfect your cartwheels are. And so it's always better just to go for safe cartwheels than risky cartwheels, because one cartwheel into a wall will lose you nearly a second, whereas a bunch of perfect cartwheels are only going to save you like 0.1, 0.2.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we do a little over, I think it's like 300 plus cartwheels in a run, and we save about 15 seconds doing it. So
Yeah, exactly.
It's not much time. Here's the first time he's going to do conveyor glitch.
Perfectly on the conveyor too. That actually can be tricky getting on the conveyor.
So the way that works is he shoots the M9 shot at the scaffolding there, the little like pillar, the scaffolding pillar, at a certain angle or a certain point that we line up with. And then he moves forwards and presses triangle to get onto something or to vault. And then for whatever reason, it just allows us to vault onto the conveyor belt where you're not supposed to. And then we just equip the box, walk into the little sorting machine, and we go to where we want to go, which is back to Strut C.
So you probably just noticed, equipping the box makes guards panic in this game, and they just won't shoot you if you equip the box right when they're about to shoot. They'll hesitate for some reason, and you can use that for essentially free time to just get away from them, cartwheel into them, take them out, whatever you need to do. Ignore them completely and just exit the room. And so in Threat D, you come in, you drop down, you freeze the bomb that's hiding under that vent, shoot the guard, and then you just exit the room. It's a very fast room. It's a very fun room too, honestly.
Yeah, simple, but you can lose a lot of time here if you're...
Yeah, and that wall, the wall on the door that he just exited through likes to magnetize people to it for some reason, which will also cost you a lot of time.
Yeah.
Do we have a moment to squeeze in a little donation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We have $5 from Tej saying, donating this for JMC's run. Good to see you at the marathon, dude. Been looking forward to this one in particular. Smash it, bud. Thank you, Tej.
Thank you, Tej.
Now we're going to see the second half, which is going to skip us all the way back to Strut A, which is where we started the plant. And that's going to put us where we want. That skips a whole ton of struts. It skips 2 struts, 2 bridges. So that's like a 7-second time save on this difficulty.
That's where the bulk of it comes from, for sure, on conveyors, whenever you skip all the way back to Strut A.
Yeah. The only problem with that glitch is it is very precise. If you take too long to do it, you pretty much lose all the time save it gives. It has to be like one and done.
The JMC is going to come down into the Strut A deep sea dock, and he's going to freeze the bomb that's under a boat. And then after that, you'll encounter your second boss of the game, which will be Fortune. And this boss is not an auto-scroller, but it almost is. You can't really do anything to save time, but you can do things to lose time. So you essentially want to destroy as much of the room as possible, which will be you saving time. And then there is a little bit of RNG with her dialogue that can lose you 2 seconds, but as long as you follow the essential guidelines of how to do the room to destroy as much as possible, you will always get a roughly similar fortune, you know. And so you're essentially minimalizing the RNG in the fight, and you can't really do anything to like sequence break it or get through it any quicker, but you can do things to lose time. So you just want to follow what he's doing right here, which is 3 punches into a crouch to be behind the forklift. So she's going to blow up the boxes and then the forklift, and then she'll go for the lights next. This will maximize the room's destruction, essentially.
Yeah, there's 2 barrels on either side. You'll see him go to them, these yellow barrels here. There's one here on the right and there's one on the left. She needs to shoot these barrels. these barrels have to be destroyed to progress this fight for the most part. But it's these barrels and a bunch of boxes in the level. The more boxes she destroys, the quicker the fight will generally end.
It's been scienced out enough that we know what to do essentially in the fight, and it's really all about execution and luck when it comes down to it. If you follow all the guidelines, you can still lose time, sadly, you know.
Sometimes she just misses the barrel. You can see her aim isn't always the best, so it's still out.
Sometimes she'll shoot through a barrel and shoot you somehow.
Yeah. So he got a pretty fast one by the looks of it. That was a good fortune. You can lose a ton of time on here.
A lot of time.
If you miss time when you go to one of the barrels, she'll do a speech line, and as soon as she talks, you know you've lost time because it takes longer.
There's a claymore coming up right here. If he hits it, nope. Okay, right where those chaff grenades were, there's a claymore just right under and a little to the left of them. And if you hit that claymore, it's like, I think it's like almost 3 seconds or something, or 2 seconds lost. And so very lucky to not hit that claymore. Going for those chaffs is risky because you can go straight up as soon as you enter that area and ignore the chaffs, and you basically have no risk of getting hit by the claymore. But the chaffs are very useful whenever we get to a section that we'll talk about later after the hero fight.
So now he's just going to head back to the heliport. He's going to the next boss fight, which is Fat Man. Fat Man's pretty easy. We have a setup for it that basically manipulates him to go the way we want him to go. And because we want him to take the shortest route, he can go in 3 different directions from the start of this fight. After you knock him down, he'll always go in the same direction when we set up for the fight. But as soon as we knock him down, he has 3 different directions he can go. He can come back towards where you are, or he can go to the far left, or he can go down the middle. And we want him to go down the middle because it's the shortest distance and allows us to knock him down again.
There is what's called
for the most part.
Yeah, the fight is extremely quick. There is what's called the non-lethal variant, which essentially just involves knocking Fat Man down and then spamming the N9 tranquilizer pistol at his head until he's dead. And, or not dead, but knocked out, I guess. And that's the fastest way to do it. I don't think we'll see that today, because it is a little risky, and I don't know if JMC knows it, honestly. Or he probably knows it, but just doesn't really practice it.
So he's going to defuse this bomb here, and he's going to shoot him, and then he's going to move, and hopefully goes, yep, he did it, he got it down the middle. You want him to come here because it's the closest to the next bomb.
Yeah, this isn't much slower at all than non-lethal. It's really almost a matter of preference.
He also got the 2 fast bombs, so when you defuse bombs with a coolant, you can either get a slow bomb or a fast bomb. To get a fast bomb, you need to be at the right distance and at the right angle when you spray the bomb, and it will defuse. You'll just freeze it super fast. Getting a slow bomb there, or even 2 slow bombs, just costs time. But
yeah, you want to line up to where the coolant spray will be hitting 3 different hitboxes of the bomb, one for every, for all 3 visible sides of it, in order to get the fastest diffuse.
So now we're just going to go through a bunch of codecs. It's just going to finish up the last one here with the colonel. He's going to equip the BDU, and he's probably going to equip the Claymore, because he's going to use the Claymore in Shell 1 to set up a room to be more... I wouldn't say it lays it out better, but what it does is allows us to hold an elevator open instead of having to wait for an elevator by double pressing the elevator and wait for it to come back down. He's just going to keep an elevator open. And that'll just save time in the room once he's done collecting an item that he needs.
So coming down this bridge, yeah, the platforms will fall out from under you as you cross it, but luckily Raiden's cartwheel is just so fast, just go straight through it, You'll see him do another one of those stereos we mentioned here, probably. Yep, there it is. Straight up the stairs in 1 cartwheel.
So he needs to grab the AK here because we need to disguise ourselves as an enemy guard.
And so with the AK and the BDU equipped, we just blend in perfectly like one of the regular guards, the Shell 2 or Shell 1 core.
We also needed to get in this elevator here, that if you don't have the BDU and the AK attached when you call that elevator, that camera will spot you. It's a completely unique camera to this one floor.
And so he's gonna place the claymore. Yep, shoots the claymore, which causes an alert. So now the guards are gonna want to run straight to the elevator, which is gonna keep the elevator open.
Yeah, it has to be done in the elevator so that the guards go to the elevator. He's gonna grab the D-Mite, which you'll need on the next floor.
Essentially, I think the game doesn't want to lock the guards in the elevator, and so whenever they're in there, it leaves the door open so they can exit, and so by making them go in there, you'll keep the door open until you exit the room, which eliminates elevator RNG. Because the elevators have RNG for how quickly they'll arrive, and so you can lose like up to a second on a bad elevator.
Yeah, it's based on frames. It's based on the frame in which you press the elevator. And so he's just gonna do a little stab here, 2 punches. And he's gonna grab this guard and choke him right near the biometric panel.
Yep, that puts him instantly from standing there basically to instantly putting his head in the retinal scanner without having to actually walk the guard to the retinal scanner.
So this room, we're looking for a guy who goes by the name of Ames. And he can spawn in a bunch of different spots on New Game Plus. Basically,
That wasn't horrible.
we take the ability to skip the Stillman cutscene to have this guy spawn in random spots on each run. Because on a new game's run, he'll be in the same spot every time, but on New Game Plus, he switches different positions, and there's like 20 positions in this room that he can be in. So we have a layout in which we'll run to check each spot that he can be in.
Unless you're like actually blind, then you'll never run into a situation where playing on new game to get the dedicated aim spawn will be faster than skipping the Stillman cutscene. And so we'll essentially always have to live with RNG for aims unless a manipulation's found.
It's better to take that because you'll only lose like 15 seconds on a terrible aim or something. So at best, you'll lose a chunk of time, but I'd rather lose that than like 3 minutes.
Yeah, or 4 hours and 20 minutes.
So he's just
So
gonna
coming
come
over
in
here, yep. We keep talking at the same time. So funny. We're in like exact rhythm. Anyway, so he's grabbing a sniper rifle here, which he's gonna use to take out some sensors on the bridge, which I'm gonna let Theory explain.
Yeah, so he's gonna go. He's making his way to the Harrier fight now. The Harrier fight is like the halfway mark. It's also the make or break point for most runners. This fight, no matter what difficulty is on, can cost you time if you let it get away from you. You're gonna see JMC do what we call a 5+1. Basically, he's going to shoot 5 shots off the start, hit the Harrier 5 times, and then he's going to do a +1, and that will set him up to shoot 2 more shots to finish the fight early at what we call die shots. Basically, there's a small cutscene that happens where Solidus, who is the ultimate bad guy in this game, the final boss, will shout die, and then we'll fire 2 shots, and that'll end the fight. So hopefully he's be able to get it. Before that, he needs to shoot, as we said, a bunch of sensors. It's like 5 or 6 sensors, and you can hit the C4 on this bridge by accident if you're trying to be too fast and blow up the bridge and get a continue. So hopefully we'll see JMC
Getting
take
a continue, I think, is like 3 to 4 seconds of time loss, right? Maybe even more.
On average, a continue is like 15 seconds.
15?
So,
oh my god.
yeah, it's like 15, 17 on this section.
You'd think I don't know anything about this game, Jesus. So he was a little bit out of alignment, so he wasn't instantly able to go from shooting the middle sensor to the sensor in the bottom left. But it didn't cost him too much time, and he's through the section. So we're heading into Harrier now. This is an intense boss. It's going to be difficult to commentate it, honestly. So we'll do our best.
He gets it. So he's going to pick up the stinger, immediately click it, and he's going to aim for the outer wings, because that's where the most damage is. Overhead shot. He's going to get low down. Oh, no, he's good. He's good. He just needs to get this +1.
So he's going to grab the ammo, which you actually don't need on this difficulty, but it's just force the habit, really.
And he's going to skip this cutscene.
If you miss these shots, you will need that ammo, though, so you still gotta grab it.
Perfect.
And perfect.
Textbook 5+1. That ends the fight as fast as you can in this difficulty. Now he just has to skip through these cutscenes.
Yeah, he really did make that look easy.
Yeah,
That is an insanely hard strategy.
He's going to do the leap of faith here, so he's just going to cartwheel over a massive gap and time it right so he doesn't fall. Now he's just got to basically run for a little bit. He's going to go through these different walkways. At this upcoming part, he's going to chuck a chaff. He's going to equip chaff, and he's going to throw one immediately as soon as he loads into the room, and he gains control. And that will allow him to... he's going to take an alert, basically, from this guard here, and so ciphers, these little cameras, the little gun cameras, flying gun cameras that come, and so that he can't be shot, the chaff is going to disrupt them, so he can get across this range. Otherwise, you would just get shot and fall to your death. You can do this with a strat, what we call chaffless, where we don't grab the chaff at all, but you have to turn and shoot that guy pretty quickly with an M9 before he gets an alert.
Want I squeeze a little donation there?
Yeah.
We have a $5 donation from Katie Randall. JMC in a marathon? Great to see. Wishing you get God RNG and the Emma skips. Metal Gear Solid 2 is the best MGS game. Smile.
Yeah, so JMC will be going for, at least he said he will, what is known as the Emma Zip. It is a recently discovered technology. It was discovered by Miss Chelsea, I believe, and she accidentally clipped Emma out of bounds, and it ruined her run, but it ended up making our runs in the future much better.
Yeah.
And so when we get there, we'll explain it. It is coming up, though, and essentially what he's going to do is he's going to line Emma up against the wall and clip her, and like I said, we'll explain it more when we get there. Right now, he's going for the Nikita missile launcher. It's a remote control missile launcher, which you're going to use to fire a missile into the room the president's being hostage in, or being held hostage in, so you can destroy the electrical panel that keeps the floor electrified, and then you'll be able to walk on the floor like normally.
He did a little trick at the beginning. When you enter this section, there's a cutscene that plays and some codecs. During one of those cutscenes, you have the D mic out. You're actually in control. You have to basically, if you don't skip it, you're listening into this radio talk that Olga is doing. But basically, you could turn in it. So Patchy Smash, who was in the chat earlier, found that you can just turn in mid cutscene. And so that as soon as the cutscene's in, Raiden is lined up to go straight down the stairs. So we save a little bit of time having to like turn him around or go to the stairs. We're set up, ready to go. As soon as the cutscene ends, we can just press forward and run straight down the stairs. So just little optimizations that were found.
So this is the stinger shot right here. He's going to shoot the stinger into this air vent, guide it through, and then by not moving the stinger, it'll get speed boost. So you're going to want to maneuver it as little as possible. You blow up that panel that he just destroyed. Now you're going to switch to the stinger so you have it for the next fight, and then run into the president's room. Well, he already equipped the stinger, I believe, so he didn't have to do it then. But a lot of runners do it after they shoot the president. Not shoot the president, but shoot the president's electrical panel. If you shoot the president, you may be Apache Smash, sadly.
Yeah, some people have killed the president on PB pace and world record pace. And they've never lived it down. So he's just got 2 long codec calls here.
I took these votes.
Gonna skip them through. And then the next section coming up after these codec calls has one of the hardest tricks in the game for most people. It's called swim glitch. Basically, he's gonna set up to swim against the corner of a wall, and it's gonna push him out of the water, but keep him in the swimming animation. And so he's gonna rise above the water, and it's gonna allow him to just swim through the ceiling and out of bounds. And what this does, skips the entire swimming section here, which is like a minute long or something like that, and basically save about 20 seconds. I mean, it's not a minute long, but...
And then you lose time on the way back, and so in order to make it break even, he's going to need to be able to get the glitch in at least 3 cycles. So 1 cycle will be whenever he touches the wall, doesn't rise, and has to realign himself with the wall. And so if he gets it in under 3 of those, then he should save time.
Looking good. Ooh, you got 1 cycle. Nice.
1 cycle.
Very
perfect.
clean swim glitch.
So this is going to save 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's about 15 to 20. And then he's going to pop up right here inside this room, and it's going to immediately skip to the vamp fight. This is Vamp 1, don't blink. And we're done.
And that's it.
That's Vamp 1. We just run right up to the edge, equip the stinger, which is on previous. We can immediately just tap the trigger, equip stinger, and look down at his feet and turbo stingers into his feet. And
He has iframes during that, but essentially you're hitting him as soon as his iframes end and before they restart, and so you're able to keep him in a loop of just never-ending damage until he's all the way dead. That fight is actually very, very difficult casually, so the fact we're able to do that is a blessing, honestly.
And we can pretty much do the same on every difficulty, although it just gets hard at the time the shots out.
Yeah.
You can't turbo on any of the other difficulties. You have to manually time the stinger shots. So this is the part where he's got to swim back with Emma on him. It's the escort section. We have to basically drag Emma. She can't walk. Her legs have been pumped with tranquilizers. So first we got to swim her back, and then we have to grab her hand and literally just drag her with us because she can't walk properly. This part we don't have to though. We can just leave her there and walk through the.
Yeah, she'll figure it out.
She'll
Just
make
leave her
own
out
bed.
there. She can't walk, but she can teleport.
Every runner that runs MGS2 hates this section because we would like to be able to skip all of this. I mean, we have the Emma zips now, which do skip a bunch of it, but they are still hard to execute. So, and they're a little bit RNG for the most part as well, even though we've had them, like, we have worked them out.
The first zip, which will be the Shell 2 core zip, is not necessarily easy to execute, but it's easier than the KL zip, which will be the second zip he goes for. The KL zip is known as one of the harder zips to execute, and there has been setups found by people like Tino and BMN that make it slightly easier, but in the end, you know, it really is down to essentially just getting a good alignment right out the gate, because if you're off by the smallest amount, you may miss the zip entirely, which is only going to lose you time.
And for 2 zips, we're only, if we get them one first try, on the, like first cycle, first bump, you're only saving 15 seconds total between both rooms, for both rooms. It's, I think it's 8 seconds here inside, and it's 7 on KL. So it's like 15 to 16 seconds.
Yeah, it's very much a high-risk, high-reward scenario, because 15 seconds is huge on this difficulty, but you can lose way more than that by getting bad zips.
Don't worry about this section, he's not going to hurt Emma here, he's going to get her, don't worry. He just choked her a little bit. She doesn't like bugs, so instead of...
She needs friendly encouragement.
Yeah. And so here's the first setup. Let's see if he gets it. Nice!
Yep,
got it.
perfect.
That was pretty much perfect setup.
So Emma is now clipped out of the map, and her position is basically nowhere, because the guards are going to freak out. You'll see one guy up here just kicking the wall, trying to get to her, and because of the location of her basically being nowhere, whenever you exit and re-enter the room, it's going to consider basically that she already made it to the end of the room, so she'll spawn at the end of the room, which is saves an insane amount of time, really, on this difficulty.
Just drag her out.
Yep, and so there she is. Like, you don't even have to carry her throughout the whole room now. And you can already see the time save, basically, because look how slow that walk is to the door with her.
Now he's going to go for the second setup, KL.
This is the hard one.
Oh, we got it.
Nice.
Nice. He got first 2. That is very lucky.
Very
That's good
lucky.
as well. So what this does is, when you reload this room here, he can run all the way along this bridge. He can avoid the ciphers. He doesn't even have to shoot them. Usually you'd have to shoot this one here, coming up. He can just cartwheel all the way along. And then all he needs to do is spray this fire out with the coolant. And she's right at the end of the bridge. She's spawned. She's just ready to go.
He's so excited about these zips, he couldn't even get the coolant out.
There we go. And then we just go straight into the next zone. That was very good.
Yeah, that was insanely good, honestly. The fact he got both of the zips is really monumental in this difficulty. That can completely give you a PB almost free if you just play the rest of the game normally.
I think he is on PB pace. He's 36.
I think he may be too. And so we're coming up with what's known as twilight sniping. Essentially, the sun will be at twilight, so you got some beautiful scenery, and you're gonna blow a few gun turrets up that fly around. They're called ciphers. And you're gonna take out a few guards that are on the bridge, or not on the bridges, but on the columns. And while Emma crosses the oil fence bridge. Normally the oil fence bridge will have claymores on it at this point, but because of the difficulty we're playing on, the claymores do not spawn.
It's actually, this is now the time to point out that we, in the community, we have a bounty for this game. We have a bounty for a bunch of other games, but for this game in particular, we have a bounty of $2,000 that that's up for grabs if you find some way to skip this section or another big chunk of this game. Unfortunately, this game is very like locked down and solid, pun intended, as the name states, Metal Gear Solid 2. It's very hard. They did a lot better job with this game over the first one in terms of not allowing too many glitches in, but there are glitches, and we're hoping that someone will be able to find a way to skip a significant amount of this game, like a sequence break, or even this entire section, this sniping section, because you can't skip it. You're just stuck here for like 2-3 minutes. This entire section is like 3 minutes long, and it's the most annoying thing for us as speedrunners, because we basically always lose 3 minutes. And so, if you skip it, you're entitled to $2,000 from the community.
There's an insane amount of downtime right here, so I'll go check out the bounty board real quick, because this downtime really is long, like long. And so we got a little, I think it, yeah, about 2,000. There's a mystery amount from someone, but yeah, about 2,000 for a sequence break in this game. And then there's an Olga setup that Platonic found, and if you can make it free, there's another what looks like $100. And so a few bounties for this game that people, if you're into that sort of glitch hunting thing, you should check out.
Hey everybody, can I just cut in real quick?
Yeah, of course.
So we have two donations actually. One $50 donation from Zero Siran, no message.
Hype.
Thank you so much. And Apache Smash donated $15 and said VE hype. So thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it.
You're hype, Apache.
2 donations from community guys. Always great to see the community come out and help.
Speaking of the community, if you want to ever check out any of these games, feel free to come check out Metal Gear Speedrunners. If you type in Metal Gear Rising Discord on Google, it'll come up, sadly. We wish we could fix that.
Yeah, we have a website, Metal Gear Speedrunners, and you can find all the information on there. We got a Discord link. Just join the Discord, which I think is discord.gg/mgsr. If you want to learn any of these games, every game, not just the main games 1 and 4. We got the 2D games, we got obscure games, spin-offs.
We have Rising.
Yeah, Rising, Survive, Acid, which is the mobile games. There was actually a mobile game on the N-Gage system. Hard to believe, but there was and it's actually pretty good. It's not even that bad. It's a pretty good game. And so yeah, if you want to learn anything, we have a wiki, which is always getting new information added to it. We've got so many resources, and mostly everybody in the community is like willing to help. Just join in, ask questions. There's so many people that are willing to help you.
We love people, and we love communities, honestly. We love speedrunning with communities, and so if you even want to just join to just like tell us about an event that you're having that you'd like to maybe see a run at, even that's fine, you know, because we love branching out into other communities to do runs just like this right here. It's always a good time. And so, like we said, a lot of downtime at the sniping section, so we're basically just waiting for Emma to cross a certain threshold that'll progress the game into the next stage, which will be taking out Vamp, which is basically a fight that you'll also miss if you blink, just like the first Vamp fight. And then we're going to be boarding Arsenal Gear, which is where the game really gets knocked into like 12th gear.
Yeah, hard to believe, but we killed him once, we're going to kill him again, and he doesn't die still. He comes back in MGS4, spoilers. But not
he actually comes back at the end of this game if you look for him in the end sequence.
Yeah,
He's just chilling in the background.
Nano machines, I guess. He just can't die right now.
Yeah.
Most people just do different things here. Some people, you can actually call Snake here. He'll call you at the beginning of this, near the beginning of this, to say that he's on that very end platform there, and he's willing to help, like snipe the stuff. Basically, you just call him again, and then everything in your FOV there, everything that you can see on your screen, he'll snipe really quickly, like before you can even do it. So you can just basically equip the scope, which is the binoculars, and
Which means if we could find a way to get through... Oh, that's the vamp fight. Just like that, gone. It's crazy. Well, if we could find a way to get to this point without the PSG one, we wouldn't even need it, because you could call Snake and just use the scope to get him to shoot everything. So that's another potential skip in this game that would result in you getting the bounty if you achieved it. As that would be a sequence break for sure.
this section is actually the this section is like pretty hard if you mess it up. If you get a continue here in this section, because you're on a timer, anytime there's a timer on the screen, as you see, our time left, and you take a continue, the game puts you right back at the very beginning of the section, this whole section. So if he takes a continue here, he'll end up right back in that room where he got out of the hatch. So this is not the place you want to take a continue. This is probably the worst place in the game to take a continue. You lose
Luckily,
so
a
much time.
continue is almost impossible once you enter Shell 1 core, so he's in the safe zone now. There's not really much he could do here, except for just not play the game till the time ran out.
Which, as you can see, he's got like 4 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Like, I don't think he'll ever make it to the elevator in time. On to Arsenal
Alright,
gear.
so we're now in Arsenal gear. This is your father, essentially. He's gonna give you a little bit of choking, you know, because you messed with his plan, just show you a lesson real quick. And then after that, you're gonna get punched by Olga, which, I mean, isn't even gonna hurt because of the difficulty. And then we're gonna be on to what can turn into one of the hardest rooms in the game, but is normally quite easy.
This section, you don't actually have to, like, you don't have to hit anything here. You can just let him choke your O2 bar down. This is a tutorial section for torture scenes, because there's another one that coming up later that you actually do have to press something on. But because we have turbo, we just hold triangle, and we don't have to worry about it. But you don't have to press anything here. It'll always skip, and you won't lose any HP.
And so Olga's gonna reveal her true identity to you here, that she is in fact the ninja,
Brace yourself.
which I don't think we even see once because we skip all the cutscenes.
Yeah.
And now, as soon as she punches you, you can just start holding select. And that way, on the first frame of Raiden raising his head, you can call Rose. By calling Rose, it progresses the game into the next section of her explaining everything that's going on with herself, basically, and you. And it'll instantly release you from the torture section. Because normally you have to wait for her to call you, but if you call her to save the game, it'll just play it instantly. So that saves a good bit of time. And now we're heading into the room I talked about. This room's quite easy, but it can turn into one of the hardest rooms. If it's all about one simple jump you have to make, and if you miss it, it can all be over.
Somebody there.
So yeah, this entire room is based on timing. So as soon as he enters the room, he's going to buffer the codec. He's going to hold select coming into this room. Immediately get the codec, and then he's going to try and frame perfect the codec there. He's going to do one cartwheel here, and then cartwheel through this guard, so he doesn't get an alert. If you miss time any of those two codecs, you will not have enough time to get to this guard without the alert. He'll turn and spot you and then kick you, and then this room gets really hairy. That gap is the gap. We call this gap the gap of unfathomable sadness, because so many runners have lost a PB to that gap. It's very easy.
I think it's like 17 seconds if you miss it and have to go around, something like that, right?
Yeah, it's like 14, I think, if you drop. It's 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. JMC's gonna...
donate real fast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so another $70 from Zero Kieran. No message, but we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Wow, Zero, you really are hype, man. And so we're doing what here is called pause scum strat. Someone pointed it out in the chat, I noticed. By pausing the game while the codecs are coming in, you can answer them on almost the first frame. Because the sound effect will play uninterrupted even when paused. If you pause during a sound effect, the sound effect will still finish playing. And so even though you hear the entire codec sound effect, you're not actually essentially losing time due to the whole sound effect playing. You're pausing as soon as you hear the sound effect, just go ahead and hit the answer button. Or if you see the overlay on screen for the codec, you can just go ahead and hit the answer button while you're holding the pause button. And it saves, like, I think like roughly a second almost, if done perfectly. I know that's what I golded the room by,
Yeah.
at least when I first started it, so.
This part of the section where you get the sword is just a room where you basically give you a tutorial to like mess around with the sword, get used to it. It's actually on a timer as soon as you swing. So as soon as you gain control, you want to do one or two swipes. I mean, you only need one swipe, but I always do two to be sure. And that'll start a 45-second timer. So it doesn't ever tell you this. So a lot of people casually probably didn't know this, but you have to swipe to start the timer. The idea is that this whole room is just a 45-second training room for you to get used to the sword.
You have to
Nice.
swipe and you have to stand north. If you
So the
stand
north,
south, then it won't progress either. So here he equips the AK and guns down these guards to get through the room as quick as possible, and he's gonna equip his SOCOM pistol and do another glitch in the game where you essentially clip through into the load zone for the next room. Perfectly executed.
Yeah, when you PPK on Raiden, when he does the kick, just as he initiates the kick, he actually moves backwards slightly. And so it gives us enough, it pushes through enough his hitbox through the door to hit the load trigger.
Normally you have to wait until all the guards are killed in that room, and then the door will unlock to let you progress, but by PPKing into the loading trigger, Raiden will just run to the door while the game loads, and then you're in the next room.
Yeah. This is Tengu 2. That was Tengu 1, this is Tengu 2. On this difficulty, it's easy. You just run to the north of the room, stand in a specific spot, and just turbo sting on these Tengus. You need to kill 48 Tengus on this difficulty, and that also includes the Tengus that Snake kills. Snake is like behind you, shooting the other Tengus with an M4. And the problem with this section is it can take longer than it's supposed to, because you have to wait for Snake to kill Tengus. They're jumping out the other door on the other side. And sometimes Snake is just like, he's just like, oh, I don't want to aim at them. Or sometimes a Tengu will jump down with a sword and get right in his face.
Just like right
as
here.
you see there, like the sword can deflect bullets, and sometimes he can just get caught in this weird like hurt circle where he just gets stabbed and doesn't shoot them properly. And so luckily he got through pretty quick. It's not too bad. And we have Big Chungus on screen.
And so here Solidus is going to explain his master plan to Big Chungus, which is essentially that this is all a simulation meant to mimic Shadow Moses, and that Raiden's basically being programmed. And we just have to get through this section. It's all just waiting. After that, then Big Chungus will be able to take down the Rays. It's really just waiting for the speech then, though. If there's ever a way to skip this, we'd lose our mind.
I'm sorry to see you reduced to one of the
You also can't lose time here. So normally when you open a menu, the gameplay pauses, but the IGT continues running. So any other time in the game, you open the menu, obviously you can't move. It's paused your actual gameplay. But you can lose time because your IGT is still going. Here, he'll continue to talk, even if you open the menu and mess around with stuff. Like, he'll just continue to talk. This section is on its own timer. There's two sections, this section and another section. I forget what other section it is that actually does it. But this is on its own timer. Like, it has an internal timer that we can't see on screen or anything like that. Like, it's just on its own timer. So opening the menu here and pausing the gameplay, he'll just continue to talk, so you can't actually lose time. So a lot of people tend to just mess around for a bit.
And so here, this will be the Ray fight. This is a very precise fight. You need to headshot the first two Rays as quick as possible. That way you can get in position to shoot this one in the leg and then in the head, and that ends the fight just like that.
Are you awake yet, Jack?
Now a long cutscene, in-game cutscene, I guess, because it's not actually like
I admit that I underestimated you.
And so this is the real torture section. We're no longer in the beta. Trial is over. Now you actually do have to press the triangle button at least like 4 times, I think, to not die.
But he's just gonna hold. He's just gonna hold it because he's got turbo. This save smashing. This is one of the reasons why the community voted on allowing turbo on all categories of this game, because on European Extreme, on HD Collection, they made this really easy on all difficulties, including the highest difficulty. On this version, because this is still an older version of the game, technically, European Extreme, hurts people's wrists. You have to mash.
Some people can't even complete it. Also, I'm
I
one of
forget how
I'm
long
one
it
of
is.
them.
I forget how long. I think it's like a minute or something long. You have to straight mash hard for like a minute plus. Or I
Yeah,
don't know what it is. I don't know. It's probably not a minute, but it is a long time. It's probably like half a minute or something. It's something so stupid like for mashing. And so the community was just like, why don't we just save our wrists and allow? And also it opens it up to other people who may have medical issues and things like that, so they can actually get involved in runs.
So we're coming into the Solidus boss fight here. This will be the final boss of the game. Essentially what's going to happen is that JMC is going to come out and punch Solidus instantly, and then or swipe him. And now he's going to go for 3 sword swipes, and he's going to run away so he can bait this missile attack. And he's going to go for 3 more swipes. He's going to repeat this 1 more time, and then he's going to cartwheel as far away from Solidus as he can.
I think he's going to get the long dash, yeah. Unfortunately, he didn't get far away enough in time. If you get far enough away, Solidus will do a short dash instead of this long dash that he got and save a little bit of time because he'll get to this cutscene quicker. But it's not a big loss even if he does the long dash. Now he's basically going to dash around the room a couple of times to try to hit us.
And so you can go for what's called dodge straps here. Like that's what Clear was about to mention, yeah. You can dodge the elbow and just go straight for the hits. And that is a PB, I believe.
Yeah, that is a PB. Yep, that's a
102.08. That's insane.
GGs.
That is insane.
That's a very good PB.
This is
right
some
on
of the
cusp
highest level
101.
gameplay you can see, honestly, here.
Yep, that's
Like,
top
this is
5.
very good.
That is a top 5. Top 5.
That's it.
Well,
That is insane. I'll ask JMC in Discord real quick, but I wonder if he would want to go to credits for this because this is a PB.
they might need to go to credits.
I think I found something to
That should be fine, yeah.
What?
He says he's fine to wrap up.
He's recording anyway.
Yeah, he's recording it, so it's fine.
No,
to wrap up.
if you go to credits, it's unskippable. It's a 9 minutes 25, like unskippable
Yeah.
cutscenes. So
It's up to us to teach that to our
that was
children.
MGS2, everyone.
What
Hope
kind
you
of-
enjoyed.
Yep.
About the environment,
We had a great runner in
our
JMC.
ideas,
JMC is
our
one
culture,
of the top runners in this game.
compassion.
Me and him have raced each other
sorrow,
plenty of times
joy.
and pushed each other,
We'll
so
tell them everything
it's great to see him
together.
get a PB like
Is
this
that
in a marathon as well.
Proposal?
This is probably my favorite Metal Gear game, and this is the fastest category for speedrunning that game. And to see it done on such a high level of skill, just right out the gate like this, a PB in a marathon is honestly insane. Like, JMC is one of the best players we have out there for sure. And he's very consistent with his PBs too. He literally just poops them out, man, back to back. It's crazy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that run. That was an amazing showcase.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It was a lot of fun. I really liked being here to commentate it. Great run to JMC. I mean, thanks for being here too, Theory, to come in for Apache, and good luck to all the future runners that are coming up, and I hope we smash this goal.
Yeah, thanks for you guys being here. Also, let me squeeze this final donation. I think it's very appropriate. We have a $10 donation from Boxmill saying, big chungus, big chungus, big chungus. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Big Chongus!